What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez. I'm joined, as always, by my friend Matt Llewellyn. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Zach. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Today, guys, we are going to talk about 49ers running back Raheem Mostert, and more specifically, how many rushing yards we think he will have this upcoming season. Matt, do you want to go ahead and take it away?
Sure. I think last year was kind of a career year for Raheem Mostert. He kind of came out of a pack of running backs and proved to himself and to the team that he was kind of the best of the bunch. And I think that will kind of be a similar case in 2020. The only thing that I would say is that it seems that Kyle is really in love with a running back by committee sort of thing. So Mostert had 772 yards last year. It was like a 5.6 yards per carry clip. He got less than 150 carries. So I don't think that the numbers will come up, but I don't think they're going to be drastic. I think maybe he'd get 175 carries. I don't think that he's going to be that bell cow back you're looking for. So I think somewhere in the range of 800 to 900 yards is going to be kind of the ceiling for him, just because of how much Kyle is in love with not only Tevin Coleman and the other running backs they have, but you have Jet McKinnon coming back, and depending on what he can do, he's that guy that can catch out of the backfield, something that Mostert may not be the best at. I think that the scheme here lends itself to keeping a fresh running back in there at all times. So even though Mostert proved himself in clutch situations and had an absolutely fantastic game in the NFC Championship, I think that, we need to temper expectations that he's just all of a sudden going to break out for a 1,500-yard season.
Okay. Well, you know what? I don't think he's going to have 1,500 yards, but I do think that he tops 1,000. I don't think that Jet can be relied upon. I mean, he's been out of football for 2 whole years.
Yep.
And who knows what can. I know he's been training. I've seen the videos on social media, but we've heard every single NFL player say training is 100% different than real NFL games. You can't match the intensity. You can't match the speed. So who knows how Jet is actually going to be when he comes back. So I think Mostert, I would probably go about 1,040. I think that that's going to be a pretty good year for him, obviously a career year, but there will be Coleman, like you said. And, if they decide to bring Jeff Wilson along, which they kind of hit with him on and off the roster last year, the pie keeps getting divvied up, but I think that the bulk share still goes to Raheem Mostert. I think he definitely proved his worth last year and earned his role as the starting running back going into next season. But I think they see more of a Tevin Coleman and more of like a goal line scenario, those types of, short distance scenarios. And Raheem Mostert, his speed, his vision, his cutting abilities, I think it's unmatched by any other running back that's on the roster right now. Now, how many running backs do you think they carry going into next year? How much is this pie going to be divided?
I think they do. I think they do 4 again. As far as like main, rotation for the backs. And I know a lot of people are like Jeff Wilson Jr. I actually think Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to get cut. I don't think that he provides enough for this team. I think that a name to look out for would be JaMycal Hasty, especially if you believe some of the more hard to say. There's some people out there in the 49ers world that just love their undrafted free agent running backs. I won't go any further than that. But you move one out, and Matt Breida, the Breida train has left town. Thank goodness. That guy was fumble prone, injury prone. Who cares? He's in Miami. Good riddance. Get out of here. I know that's going to be unpopular, but that's just how I feel. JaMycal Hasty out of Baylor is going to be the new hotness for this season. And I do think that he's going to take up that Jeff Wilson Jr. role. For whatever reason, Kyle Shanahan has a love for Tevin Coleman. And, when Coleman signed last season, I was pretty excited for it. He's done good things in Atlanta. I thought that would be a pretty good signing for them. But, it just outside of the one game where he had, I think it was the Carolina game, he just had like a monster game, one game. And, outside of that, he really didn't do anything. And it was kind of puzzling that just, everybody was hung up on who's starting. And it seemed to be Tevin Coleman was the first running back out there every time, despite Raheem Mostert just being flat out better. I think this year that kind of switches. I think Raheem Mostert's going to be running back one for whatever that's worth, for whatever series that's worth. But I do think that Tevin Coleman's going to take a bunch of those snaps. I do think that Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to be gone. So now you're looking at Jet McKinnon. What can he offer you? He hasn't been healthy, but that doesn't mean that he can't be healthy. Running back, as opposed to many other positions, is the one where rust is only so much as your athleticism dictates. It's not like you forget how to hit a hole. I mean, you run to daylight. You know what I mean? It's not like it's going to be a huge thing. It's not like the halfbacks in this offense are charged with blocking too much. They do somewhat, but for the most part, it's Kyle Juszczyk back there blocking. You keep Jet out of those situations. He's going to be pretty much the third down back. So you're going to maybe have him, do a quick little, block and release out to the flat to give Jimmy a safety valve. And if he can do those things, that's great. But as far as Mostert, again, 1,000 yards is a big ask out of this offense just from the scheme that they run. They want to keep backs interchangeable because as the defense gets tired, if you can put fresh legs in there, that's when you go from early in the game, we're getting 3.5 yards a carry, 3.6 yards a carry. Now all of a sudden you're getting 7 yards a carry, 7.2. You're getting those gash runs. And when you're up by a lot and you can, take the onus of the offense out of the passing game's hands, where even if you trust your quarterback to the top level extent, a passing play inherently is going to be more dangerous than a running play. That's just the way that it is, the way the mechanics work for that play. So the less that they have to throw, I think that's what Kyle kind of wants. So if you can keep the running backs fresh and keep them in and out and keep the defense guessing and keep the defense tired, I think that's what they're going to go for. So for me, 800, 900 yards tops for Raheem Mostert.
Okay. And that's a pretty good explanation, and we've seen running back by committee by Kyle Shanahan since he's been with the 49ers. But I don't know. I think that Raheem Mostert did enough to separate himself from the pack, but it's a new year. And, like they say every year, every position's evaluated and they go with the guys they feel best, will do the best for the team. Now, Matt, my question for you is, why did Raheem Mostert have a career year last year? What was it out of nowhere? He's kind of been this kind of special teamer, running back 3. What was it last year that just propelled his career into, I want to say stardom pretty much, because everybody knows who he is after that Green Bay game in the playoffs. So what was it?
I think it's one of those things where you hit the right scheme and things just start to make sense. He'd been on, I think 5 teams in 7 years or something to that extent. He'd been on a bunch of teams and he was able to become a special teams ace with the 49ers. Kyle kind of incorporates him into the running game, and for whatever reason, it just clicks. And Raheem Mostert, more than the other backs, showed that quick intuition to just hit the hole, that one cut, put your foot in the ground and go. And he was able to recognize and hit that hole faster than the other running backs. Tevin Coleman, to me, who everybody thought was going to be that guy, looked tentative, and he looked like he kind of pitter-pattered around the hole and wasn't going through quite as quickly. I think Kyle noticed that too. Matt Breida, we know, had, he's always nicked up, and he had the fumbling issues, and that kind of put him in the doghouse. Other than that, Breida was, kind of hitting the holes in the same fashion. So Raheem Mostert, who for whatever reason, in spite of only having 8 career fumbles in 7 seasons or whatever, has kind of been labeled as fumble prone. I don't see it. He's kind of become that guy that, you hit the hole, go, and he, right at the beginning of the season, it was just 11 yards, 13 yards, he just seemed to come in and just wear people out. So I think some teams keyed on him late in the season, and that brought his average down a little bit. But man, he's one of those guys where he runs 4.3 and you're just like, he doesn't look that fast, but he is that fast. So when you pair all that up, it's just like somebody gave him a chance and the scheme works for him, and he's turned it into gold, so to speak.
Yeah, and you touched on him being extremely fast. He was a track star at Purdue, which I'm sure you all know, but it really shows in this scheme, like you're saying, because Kyle Shanahan knows how to get the best out of his players. He plans things, schemes things to their strengths, does the best to kind of hide their weaknesses, and I think that's exactly what helped Raheem Mostert kind of just take off this season. I think it was last year that he broke his arm. Or was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was. And you know, it's one of those things too where it's like it's not just Kyle doing his players and like putting their players in the best position to succeed, but he also got that gift of turning, you know, running back crap into running back success from his dad, you know. So Mostert was able to come back from that broken arm and just took off.
Yeah, definitely. And this season, I think it was the Baltimore game where they kept just forcing Tevin Coleman in there, Tevin Coleman,
Yep.
and he wasn't getting anywhere. And then
Anything.
Raheem Mostert came in, and he just sparked that offense into a whole nother level. And it seemed like every week after that, he got better. He produced more. The 49ers gave him a bigger share of the carries. And that was kind of the game, I want to say, that defined his whole season up until obviously the Packers game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that I don't want to say he's going to have a problem with taking a back seat, or so to speak, because he's always been not the number one guy. But do you think that there's any sort of like difference in the mindset or the drive of players when when the coaches come to you and say, look, you had the best year of your career last year. However, we really, really like these other guys. So we're going to split the carries with you a bit.
I think, and we're talking about Mostert, correct?
Correct.
I think Mostert has been through enough, has been through so many locker rooms and so many situations that he's not going to take his NFL opportunity for granted anymore. And he understands that, hey, everybody's on borrowed time in the NFL. Your next snap could be your last. You're only as good as what you've done for the team lately. Success is defined by what you're doing and not what you have done. And it's one of those things where if you're not hungry, you're going to get pushed out. And I think that he has enough struggle and experience behind him that he, you know, isn't going to take that for granted anymore. And so even if you're saying like, hey, you know, we got these other guys that we really like, I think Raheem Mostert is going to be on board with that. You know, the team was so close to winning it all. And I think that hunger is going to linger there. And for somebody like Mostert, who's had to scrape and claw for everything that he's gotten, I think that hunger is just going to push him further towards being, hey, I'm a team guy, whatever it takes to win, you know. And that's how this locker room goes from Kittle, who's a superstar, on down. Everybody in the locker room kind of has that mentality of, hey, whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, you know, that's definitely true. And it seems like most of these guys are team first kind of guys. Kyle and John said it themselves. They're looking for a certain character of a player. They're not just going by physical talent, physical traits. They want to like the actual person. And I think they've done a really, really good job of assembling a team of those types of guys. That's going to do it for us today, guys. We really appreciate you checking it out. Follow us on Twitter. Our handles will be below. Make sure you follow 49ers Hive as well. As soon as we reach 7,000 followers, we will be giving away a 49ers jersey. Comment your thoughts below. Do you think Raheem Mostert will top 1,000 yards like I think? Do you think he'll finish a couple 100 yards shy like Matt thinks? Let us know what you think. And also make sure you subscribe, turn all notifications on so you don't miss any videos just like this. As soon as we reach 250 subscribers, we also will be giving away a jersey here on YouTube. You do not want to miss out on that. And also make sure you go check out www.49ershive.com and hit the Shop 49ers Hive tab. We have our Come At Me Bro t-shirts on sale right now. All pre-orders in the US get free shipping. And if you use code JS74, you get 15% off your purchase. Thanks for tuning in, guys.